Just okay.
If you have
So-
a source
yeah.
sheet, you can WhatsApp it to me. I think that might be the best whenever you have a chance.
Okay, I'm going to give them an assignment in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I'm going to share methodology how to teach like a shir klali on Sefer Bereshit, and because I usually teach high school kids, it's probably you do also, high school or lower. When you ask them who knows three, they all say three avot, and if they who knows four, they're all going to say imahot. Now, listen to the question. Is that what you expect to happen, or would you expect there to be a one-to-one? If there were three avot and three imahot, you wouldn't be surprised. Agreed? Okay. So that's my trigger to start the class. You follow? So they're engaged. They know that song. Now I'm going to ask three questions. There's in Sefer Bereshit, if I ask the class, what makes a patriarch a patriarch? Can anyone define that? What makes a patriarch a patriarch? Do you understand how the question makes people think?
The bracha.
What do you mean a bracha?
Hashem giving a bracha to.
I mean, God gave a bracha to all humans, a pru'urvu, right? After the flood, also receiving a bracha.
Specific bracha.
What?
The
Maybe
bracha
those that were
Eretz
chosen.
Yisrael.
Which bracha, Shira?
I was saying maybe the ones that were chosen, like the Bechira, like
In other words, chosen for what?
for the bracha of to get Eretz Yisrael and to be Hashem's.
Listen, it's so cool that everyone says bracha right away, because bracha
Could
sounds
it be
like
chosen for continuation of the?
But you're not chosen. Before you're chosen to continue something, you have to find what you're continuing. Listen, you folks don't know. We received something, a bracha, but what's that bracha about? I want to be more specific.
But the bris?
Which means what? That doesn't mean circumcision. What's bris mean in Chumash?
No, like the covenant of like, I'll be your God, you'll follow my ways, you'll get the land, you'll.
In other words, there's a covenant between God and a people, correct? And the first one the first time God speaks about that covenant is with Avraham Avinu. Okay, what makes him a patriarch is not the fact that we're all descendants of Abraham, because not all of Abraham's descendants are chosen. Agreed? Now, does the same thing apply to Yitzchak? God repeated that promise to Yitzchak. Okay? And how is Yaakov different than all the others?
Because all his children are included?
That's right, as opposed to everyone beforehand. In other words, Avram is chosen to start a covenant. Again, a nation in the service of God. And Avram would think that all of his kids would be chosen, but God decided only Yitzchak. Yitzchak is chosen, even though he has two sons, only one is chosen, only Yaakov. We get to Yaakov, and they're all chosen. Agreed? Now, is there anything other than they all three have a covenant? Okay. Anything else that has all three in common that we don't have by any of the other than anyone afterwards? In other words, all the children of Yaakov are chosen.
But then how come all the children are not avot also?
That's a good question. And was what makes that's the question. What makes the patriarch a patriarch? Now, if it's only being a member of the breed, we're also members of the breed. If it's only being an ancestor, so is Terach, and so is Shem, and so is Noach. We're all descendants of Noach. We're all descendants of Terach, and of Arpachshad, whoever you want to include in that list of people. Okay, so I'm going to bring a concept which we call Kel Shaddai. You know what Kel Shaddai does in Sefer Bereshit? He likes giving out names. You probably never pay attention to this, even my ex-students. Correct? In other words, who changes Avram's name to Abraham? That's Hashem, right? But not on the day they met. We don't have that in Lech Lecha, do we? That doesn't happen until when? It doesn't. Avram's name change isn't in chapter 12.
Is it in Yud Zayin? Tesai and Yud Zayin?
It's in Yud Zayin. It's going to be at the end of
Yud Zayin.
Parshat Lech Lecha.
After bris milah, right?
Yeah. It's part of Brit Milah, we'll see. Okay. Now, does God ever change Yitzchak's name? Anyone want to suggest why he doesn't?
He already named him.
That's right.
Yeah,
he named
'cause
him
God names him
Yitzchak before he
initially.
was born. In what parak?
Chaf.
You said it before.
Oh, Yud Zayin.
You were going to say parak Yudchet, but it's really parak Yud Zayin.
Yeah.
Okay. It was Sarah. God names Yitzchak way before Sarah ever left. But the problem is it's in Shvi, so no one knows that. And how does that continue with Yaakov?
His name was also changed.
He also gets a name change, right? And that's it for name changes until Moshe later changes Yeshua to Yeshua. But God giving out names, if I'm not mistaken, is unique to the Avot. You with me?
What about Yishmael? Is that because it's a malach?
What?
Yishmael? Is that because it's a malach?
So yeah, Avram calls him Yishmael, but God sort of tells yeah, but he tells him in the context that even though you're not chosen, you'll be great.
Mhm.
No, it's part of it's he gets the name change, but in the context of not being chosen, even though he's the son of Avraham Avinu, because he was born in order to be chosen. In other words, he had a Havamina being chosen because when he was first born, he was supposed to be the people. Remember, that's why Sarah takes Hagar to have a child. And when he's born to name, the assumption is he'll be the nation. Now, there's something also really neat with the names of the Avot. Almost everyone has. I'll show you something really neat. Okay, open up your Chumash to Sefer Bamidbar Parak Aleph, and look at the names of the tribal leaders. I'll share my screen real fast in case you don't have a Chumash open. You'll see something amazing. Wait a second, let me share my screen real fast. How do I do this? Oh, I forgot to make you here. I'm sorry. I see everybody. Okay. I'm going to open up just open up a simple Chumash and the Bible, and we are in Numbers. Here we go. Here, look at the names. Okay, Elitzur Ben Shdeor. Any divine names here in these in Reuven in this one? El, right? God, and Shaddai. Okay, Shimon, Shumi El, Suri Shaddai. Catching on? Yehuda, Nachshon ben Aminadav, that's without, okay? Yisachar, different. Netanel, okay? Netanel, remember, and both the either the guy or the parent, okay? Eliav, okay? Yosef, Elishama, right? Gamliel, Ben Padatzur, another name for God. Remember, Tzur is another name. Remember, Tzur Tamim Polo? Or Tzur Yisar Begolo? Avidam ben Gidoni, Achiezer, Amishadai, Asher Pagiel, Benochran, Eliasaph, Duel. Okay, now, you see all these names? So, how many names of God do we have here? We have El, short for Elohim, we have Shaddai, and we have Tzor. What are we missing? What name? What?
Yod Hey.
Yod Hey, or Yod Hey Vav Hey, right? There was Yod Hey, which is a classic name, like Yehoachaz, Yotzadak, Yoshaphat, like Yehoshua later on. Yeah. Now, want to see why? Anyone know a pasuk by heart that tells why? You know this by heart, I'm sure. Remember the beginning Parshat Vayera?
Lo Noda. Shmi Hashem Lo Noda.
Yeah.
So what is it? Shmi.
Vayera, Ken. Elohim, listen, you know Elohim, Parshat Vayera, tells Moshe, Ani Yud Kevav, okay? Got it?
Shmi Hashem Lo Noda.
At the burning book, got it? Vayera, El Avram Eschab El Shaddai, got it? Ushmi Yud Kevav Ki Lo Nodati Lehem. The name Shaddai and El Shaddai is unique to the Avot. After this pasuk, and this is only referring to Sefer Breshit, El Shaddai is a special name for Sefer Breshit. Not all Sefer Breshit, because Yud Kevavke, remember, Yud Kevavke talks to Avram and charges him to become a nation that was going to make Aliyah. but isn't involved in a miraculous way like he is coming out of Egypt. No, Yud Kei Vav Kei means God's presence is felt. So God has a plan. Remember, Brit Ben Abtarim is Yud Kei Vav Kei. But that's going to be coming out of Egypt, and God saving us from our oppressor and redemption, which will be with great miracles. But the way that God takes care of us is not with super duper miracles. It's called what Ramban calls Nes Nistar, not Nes Nigla. You can look in the beginning of Perek Yud Zayin when here. I'm going to open up Perek Yud Zayin now in Bereshit and see how Chumash begins it. And we're starting in Perek Yud Bet. I'm sorry, back we need Bereshit. In Perek Yud Bet, where are we? If you pay attention, Hashem talks to Avram, tells him Lech Lecha, etc. And all through, remember, Avram calls B'Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. He builds Mizbeach LaHashem. And in Perek Yud, what's the next Perek? After Lot leaves, who talks to Avram? Vashem Amar Avram, Achri Pelot Mimo. Sainecha. And in Perek 15, I'm just giving some quick examples. Bayamahu, Krat Hashem et Avram Brit Lemor, Zaracha. God's name up until chapter 17 is always Yud Kei Vav Kei. All of a sudden, in chapter 17, what happens? Avram is 99. Again, and Hashem appears to him again. And what's he tell him? I have a new name. Ani El Shaddai. I'm not going to tell what that means. That's too complicated for now. But it's a special name, which goes with Hitalech Lefanav Yatamim, which goes back to Noach. And this has to go back to Noach because the covenant that God makes here is very similar to the rainbow covenant. The rainbow covenant is B'Shem Elokim, but it's a Brit Olam. It's an eternal Brit. It's Beini Ubein. It has an old Brit. It's got the rainbow covenant. It's got the rainbow as a sun. But the covenant, God's not going to bring another flood. And God's going to make a Brit between God and Avram. And again, Purvu, like we have after the flood. Okay. And Elokim tells him, Ani ni Briti itach, and you'll be a mentor to other nations. We have the name change from Avram to Avraham. Bifreiti otcha b'beiti otcha, Purvu. And then Vakimoti et Briti beinu beinecha. V'lot lacha l'Elohim. I'll be your God, you'll be my people. And that's the famous Brit. And in order, to facilitate that, I'm promising you the land of Canaan, and there I'll be your God. Okay? And then we have then we have circumcision as a reminder of the Brit. Now, in the same parak, Elohim changes Sarai's name to Sarah. We all know that, right? And I'll bless her, right? And she'll have children, etc. And they'll be kings. Avram falls on his face and laughs, right? He says, how can it be? Avram laughs way before Sarah does. This is before Parshat Vayera, where Sarah laughs with the Malachim. Yeah? And Elohim tells Avram, Sarah is going to have a child, and you'll call him Yitzchak. Got it? Vakimoti briti ito. Got it? My brit to be with him. That's what makes Yitzchak a patriarch now. And Yishmael, I heard you, etc. He'll be blessed, but he won't be. He'll be a goy gadol, but he won't be. Bet briti akimit Yitzchak. Got it? Will be born next year. And then God finishes talking to him, and he leaves. Got that? Now, just jumping way ahead to chapter 35. After Yaakov graduates Levin University, remember Yaakov needs to receive the blessing. Yaakov's got to become an ish. He's got to become from an ish tam. He's got to learn to be. Anyway, that's all a long story in Sefer Bereshit. Yaakov has to struggle to earn his name, but when he comes back from Levin University, remember, God blesses him after the whole struggle and everything. And Elohim tells him, your name Yaakov. Your name will not only be Yaakov anymore, but also be Yisrael. And Elohim tells him, Ani El Shaddai. This is all the same blessing of Brit Milah. Pray Orvei, Kal Goyim Yevimeka, Umalachim. Now, if you've gotten, you can compare chapter 17 here to chapter 35, this section. And then Vayame Alev Elohim. It's so similar to chapter 17. You can't miss the connection between them. Now, from this point on, right? As soon as that happens, then Binyamin's born. And don't be surprised how this parak ends. Okay? Bayu b'nei Yaakov shnei masar. Yaakov has the 12 children. You follow so far? Let me just summarize real fast. All I want to show you is that in Sefer Bereshit, there's an underlying current or a theme of God choosing what we call the patriarchs, the Avot, to become that nation. But God's involved in the naming process and is always changing the name from, got it? First Abraham to Abraham, from Yitzchak, he gives the name, and then Yaakov, yeah, and Sarai, yeah.
I'm just clarifying, because originally you said that Kel Shakai likes giving names, but in the Psukim, it's Elohim that's changing their names.
It's in the same parak where God says, I'm Kel Shaddai. Now,
Right,
the
but
answer
it's
to the
actually
question-
Elohim that's changing the names. Okay.
So I'm
Is
gonna
there a reason?
give you homework.
Okay, great.
Ramban on Pasuk Yud Zayin. Here,
Okay.
I'll share with you the Ramban real fast. Where are we here? I'll open up Allah is the best. We'll open up Breshit chapter 17. We'll do Ramban. There. El Shaddai right away. See right in front. El Shaddai Shnei Shemot Kol Echad Tuar Ba'atzmo. Okay. Pirush El Takif. Okay. And Shaddai Miloshon Shoded. Okay. Anyway, he has a whole. He goes on all these things and he explains everyone's opinion on here. Basically, and he goes in the. I'm not going to do the Ramban. You can do it for homework. It's a really important Ramban. Too complicated for most high school kids. If you want a nice little, remember, Yud Kei Vav Kei is God's presence is felt. He can do big miracles. Elohim is nature. If I want to paraphrase it, Kel Shaddai, according to Ramban, is Shem Elohim on steroids. I hope I got my analogy right. In other words, it's in the framework of Shem Elohim, but when Shem Elohim is a little bit above nature, you follow? It's called Nes Nistar. Yud Kei Vav Kei is a Nes Nikle. I'm giving you a mini course on Kabbalah, Ramban, like real basics of it. There's in B'Shem Elohim, you can't see God, you can perceive God. Now, to perceive God, you need light. That's my understanding of God creating ore on day one. It's God makes a creation that enables man to perceive God. You can't see God, you can perceive God. But you have to think a little bit. Like you can perceive species, you can perceive nature, you can perceive. And then, man looks at nature and realizes it's structured. So usually he sees many gods, but really it's all one God. So the ability to perceive God through nature, that's through Elohim. But to mamish feel God's presence, like they're in the room, that's Har Sinai, that's the Makot, that's like, whoa, that's a Yud Kei Vav Kei moment. Some people experience him, some people don't. Yeah, Gabi?
I'm sorry to go back to this, but could you explain again? I'm confused about the whole Yishmael thing. Was he like chosen when he got the name, but then he was decided, no, it's not going to be you.
Now, we don't know what God's original plan was, but we know what Avram's original plan was. And Sarah. Sarah gave Hagar to Avram to build from him, to become the nation. And Avram was more than happy. He's happy with Yishmael. He waited so long. And Avram can't believe Sarah's going to have a child. They've been waiting so long. And God says, don't give up hope. And now, was that a later decision by God, or was that God's original plan? We don't know. We're not told. But the first 13 years, everyone's assuming Yishmael was going to be the chosen son. First, we thought it was Lot. He gets out. Then Yishmael. Did Yishmael do something wrong, or that's the way, or that's God simply decided? We don't know.
Right, but he's given in terms of the theme of like giving the name, but he is given the name, so
but he's not given the name in the context of a brit. Perek Yud Zayin is a brit. It's a name change. I should have made not just giving a name, but also a name change.
Okay. What other question?
The name that I should have clarified that. What's more unique is the change, not just giving a name, but the changing of a name. And Yitzchak doesn't need a name change because he's named by God from scratch before he's even conceived.
Okay. And one other question. When you say now with Yaakov that he had to like earn his name, but what about when he's leaving and he's given the bracha from his father of like the bracha of Abraham? Is he not?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. Okay. So listen, I'll explain Gabi's question, and that's exactly this year. Because God only says twice Ani El Shaddai. By Brit Milah and there was Brit Mila and Yaakov. The Avot mention him, but always in the context of the choosing process, of the Bechira process. Now, we just read Parshat Toldot a week and a half ago, and everyone's bothered by what's going on with these blessings, right? Now, when you read the story carefully, you'll see Yitzchak has every reason to think that both his children are chosen. Do you understand why? Tell me why they shouldn't be both chosen. But why should Yitzchak think both is that, assuming Yitzchak doesn't do Shnai Mikra? In other words, Yitzchak doesn't have Chumash. Now, why would Yitzchak think that all of his children are chosen?
They're from the same wife.
The same way, why shouldn't they both be chosen? It's not, he has one wife, twins, and he's chosen. And God says, he got Birkat Abraham. He beats Chaki Kirei Chazara. Now, if both children are chosen, what has to be decided? Not who's the only one, but rather who's the leader. What's the name for the leader or the captain in Alter Breshit? That's called the Bechor. Now, when Yitzchak and Esav, when Yaakov and Esav were growing up, the question is who's going to be the family leader, not who's going to be the only one. And therefore, when Yaakov wants to buy the Bechorah, he doesn't want to buy the uniqueness of being the chosen people. He wants to be the leader of the family. And he wants leadership because he thinks he could do a better job. And Esav couldn't care less about leadership. And that's why he'd sell it for a bowl of soup. It's not he's using leverage to make it. In other words, Yaakov understanding who his brother is, but if the fact that he's selling the Bechorah and wants to buy the Bechorah, that's not a question who's the only one, who's the leader of the family. And that's a different book. That's very different than being the only one. And remember when Yitzchak calls Esav to bless him, the blessing he's planning to give Esav is not you're the only one, but rather, remember, you should be wealthy. Remember, I'll share with you in a minute. And Yavdu Chamim behevik v'lachecha means you'll be the leader. You'll be the leader of your brother, but not the only one. He doesn't give him Birkat Abraham. Here, let me open up Perek Yud Zayin. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'll share my screen real fast. We have 10 minutes left. Okay, I got to do this fast. I'm going to share different. I'm going to give you a source sheet because I took up too much time here, and we need Bechira. We need Yosef. Wait a second. We need Yaakov Neder Yitzchak to Yosef Bechira Bracha. Here we go. Okay, there we go. I'll share this on the Zoom. I'll share with you in a minute on the chat. But you can see it here on my screen in the meantime. I didn't share my screen. I'll give this page to you in a minute. I just get back to my Zoom. Here we are. Screen. Okay. I'll do this picture in a minute. Here. Yitzchak's opening blessing is you should be wealthy. And other nations should bow down to you. But you should be the leader of a nation other nations look up to. But you should be the leader of your brothers. Okay? And Ebenezer says beautifully that this is not a blessing for himself, but for the nation. Okay? Shebrechat HaNavi came tefillah. Okay? Kikar zot tabrachal al zaram. It's a blessing for the nation of Israel, for the children, not just for they themselves, because they're not nations yet. Later I'll show you Yosef's two dreams are exactly the first dream that I'm collecting the grain in the field is that one. And everyone bowing down to them, the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down. That's the second dream. But Yosef is the leader. Yosef, everyone thought he's dreaming, I'm the only one. Bechira, he's really dreaming, Bechorah, you're the leader, and you're all chosen. Now, this will explain. Tilim 72 is going to explain. That's the background to understand Kohelet. But if I have time, I'll give you a share on that some later. Once Shani gets through a little bit through Kohelet. Now, you see this drawing? I'll just play with this drawing a little bit. We all know, you see this drawing, I think you've probably seen this before. There's a converging process. Let me get a little marker here. Up, annotate, and a little marker. That's good. Here. There's this converging process. See this? going down like this. We don't that's not good. That's called Bechira. Once they're all chosen, we have 12 tribes. After the choosing process is over, we have to pick the leader, and all the brothers get blessings for the father. Yitzchak thought he was chosen. They have 2 tribes, and the number n is how many generations in the Bechira process. So in my drawing here, I put Avram. No, that's a good count. Avram thought n equals 1. No, he's chosen, and all his kids would be chosen. Yitzchak thinks n equals 2. Understand why? Because he has every reason to think that. Rivka knows in her nevuah, the God tells her that's Shnei Goyim, that's 2 nations, not 2 brothers. But why she knows that and doesn't tell her husband, not topic for today, but it's like really interesting. Everyone thinks Yosef's dreaming is going to be another generation, n equals 4. But the main thing I want to share with you is why there's so much tension in Sefer Bereshit. Now, before we get to this thing, real quickly, I'm assuming after the whole incident with the blessings, Rivka and Yitzchak sat down for a cup of tea, and Rivka finally told Yitzchak why she got involved, and Yitzchak understood it. I think it's a logical assumption. They must have talked because that's when they sent him to go get. That's why he has to go. Now that the process is one more generation, we need to get away from Terach. Look at the blessing. Now we're finally answering Gabi's question. Look at the blessing that Yitzchak gives Yaakov before he leaves to. Oh, that's not good. I'll just do a better screen here. Look at the blessing. Chapter 28. There we go. Look at the blessing. Yitzchak tells Yaakov, now go, don't marry from Canaan. Go back to Padan Aram. Remember, when he comes back from Padan Aram, that's when he gets the name change. Okay? And take a wife from Bedot Lavan. Okay? Listen. The El Shaddai Yevarech Otcha. How come Yitzchak uses the name now El Shaddai? Yitzchak can't decide. The whole Bechira process, that's up to God. The nation of deciding who's chosen, the whole process of being chosen, of Bechira, that's up to God. But God's name in that process is always El Shaddai, in the framework of Elohim. So the El Shaddai should bless you. V'yafrecha v'yirbecha. Let's plural rule again. V'yitel l'kalamim, all from chapter 17 in Bereshit. Okay. V'yiten l'chad birkat Avraham. Got it? L'chal zarach l'rishchet eretz b'gorecha. That's also from Brit Milah. Asher natan Elohim l'Avraham. Understand? Yitzchak isn't deciding that Yaakov is chosen. Now that Yitzchak realizes it's one more generation, he's hoping that it'll be Yaakov and not Esav. Understand? So he's blessing that El Shaddai will bless him. Yeah, understand that? That's Gabi, you understand? It's exactly why he says that, because Yitzchak was in my class. I'm joking. Yitzchak understood Parakut. He didn't have Parakut Zayin, but he understood that God's name El Shaddai, that's the name that's who gave Yitzchak his name. And now Yitzchak realizes it's one more generation. And Yud Kevavke, where is it? In Parshat in Hashem Nitzav Alav, that's Hashem tells tells Yaakov in his dream that he's chosen. So Yud Kevav, but Elohim doesn't make it official until Yaakov returns from Lebanon University. Remember, his final exam was the fight with the Malach. Because to receive the blessing, to get the name Yisrael, you have to fight. You come out limping. But that's a slicha. It's to be
Why
the
wouldn't
name, you can't only be Yaakov. You can't only be Esav. You need the hands of Yaakov, the hands of Esav, and the voice of Yaakov. Yeah, Tara.
But why wouldn't like the whole running away from Esav like be enough of a struggle or a fight? You know, like why couldn't he have gotten this on when he had the dream already then?
He didn't struggle yet.
I don't know. You don't think
You have to
having to
learn-
run away from
you
your
can't
brother is
learn
trying to
it-
kill you was a struggle?
You can't learn through theory. Yes, you have to do what do you call it? Like you had to come to Israel to experience what's going on.
Yeah.
You can't just read about it. And Yaakov to go from an Ishtam to Hitalech Lefanai, to become Am Yisrael, you need to know how to survive through difficulty. Yaakov wanted to be in Ishtam. He didn't want to lie. He got stuck. He's listening to his mommy. He didn't want to. He had how to deal with loved ones. You can be in Ishtam, but you bump into loved ones all the time. How do you deal with them? You can't be passive your whole life, even though you want to be. Sometimes, and you get messed up when you're not ready for it. So you need to know how to survive. And I gave a sikha on this, is that you need to realize the sun's going to shine one day, even though you're in darkness of night. In other words, what is Yaakov? He has to fight all night until Adolot HaShachar. Remember? Vayvatek of Lepadav Abek Ishimo, Adolot HaShachar, and only then he gets his name changed. But what gives Yaakov the ability to fight all night long? Knowing the sun's going to rise. But that's a sikha. Okay, that's not a shir. That's for Shalosh Sudis trying to inspire 18-year-olds. Okay. Now now comes the fun part. We have 5 minutes for. What's the fun part? I want to explain everyone's behavior now. It's called one matriarch, one patriarch. That's why I asked you the question. My assumption is that now that Yaakov is chosen, and only Yaakov and not Esav, and the Bechir process is over, everyone's assuming there's only room for one matriarch. Now, if you would ask Yaakov, who's the matriarch? Rachel, right? That's his wife. Lavan tricked him. Okay, so he takes responsibility for Leah, but Rachel, assuming there's only room for one matriarch, Yaakov asserts Rachel. So now I'll share my drawing, and you see how it works. It works like it's amazing how it explains everything. I call this n equals 3r. You see this one? N equals 3r. Here we go. Okay. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, there we go. Got it. There's Yaakov and Rachel are chosen, and they have two tribes, Yosef and Binyamin. Yosef will be the Bechor. That's why it makes a special code. And Binyamin. Now, this explains why Yaakov is totally distraught when Yosef is assumed dead. And his only hope now is Binyamin. And Binyamin can't play tackle football. He won't go to summer camp. He won't sleepaway camp. He won't go on a class trip. He's going to watch him like a hawk. It explains Yaakov's entire behavior with Yosef and Binyamin. How come they're preferred? Because he's sure they're the chosen ones. Leah's kids are sure that their mother's the matriarch. Again, I'm assuming, everyone's assuming, there's only room for one matriarch. It can either be Rachel or Leah. No one dreamt it could be both. Now, how do Leah's kids know they're chosen? Because God wants Leah. Look what God did to make sure Leah's in. Leah has children right away. How did Lavan pull that trick off? Yeah, it's clear God doesn't want Rachel. Remember, she dies early. She barely has children. She has got her husband. But it's clear to Yaakov's kid, to Leah's kids, that Leah's the matriarch. I'll give you one quick example. When Rachel dies, who should go to Yaakov's tent? Leah, right? Imagine how you would feel if you were Leah's kids and your father took Bilhah to his tent instead of your mother. Would you protest and do something to make sure Yaakov can't do that again? What story did we just explain? Why he takes the Pilegesh, you understand? Once he sleeps with Bilhah, Bilhah is now usher to her father. To his father. But it's not incest. It's a protest, and that's why they act when Dinah gets raped. They react, and Yaakov seems to be doing nothing. They're angry with their father, but they're sure they're chosen. Now I'm using now. As long as Yosef is playing with Bilhah and Zilpah's kids, that's fine. The second he starts streaming, they have to get rid of him. No, they want to sell Yosef and get rid of him. The same Shemaim. By call, there's always good reasons for Sinat Chinam. Now, tend to share, but you understand what I'm using? If you want to explain everyone's behavior in the book, like how good reasons for Sinat Chinam, Yaakov is sure that only Rachel's kids are chosen. Leah's kids are sure that their mother's chosen. And everyone's assuming there's only room for one matriarch, which is logical. And you agree with me on that. Now, what was God, and no one ever dreamt again that the Shvachot, the half-bloods, how could they be? What was Yaakov's dream? What was Yosef's dream? Yosef's dream is, guess what? Everyone's chosen, even who? Even Bilhah and Zilpah's kids. Those are the 11 stars, because Yosef has to be a star, because it's up in heaven. So all the stars are bound. No, it's Yosef, you're the Bechor, but there's 12 brothers in the family, and you're the leader. But they're all chosen. God was they're growing up arguing over who's the only one, or who's the only matriarch, and God was trying to tell them, you're all chosen, but no one understood the dream. Who finally figured the dream out? Only Yosef, after life experience of divination. Remember? He got the butler and baker and Pharaoh's dream. And then he realizes his own dream. Now, what made his first dream uncomprehensible? The sun and the moon, who everyone thought was the mother and father. But once Yosef became a big shot, the sun is Egypt because they have a sun god and a solar calendar. And who comes to bow down to Yosef? All of Egypt and all Mesopotamia. Everyone comes to get food, not only from Egypt, from the whole land comes to get from him. So the moon is everyone is Canaan, and remember Mesopotamia has a lunar calendar and a moon god. Egypt is known for the sun god and solar calendar. So the sun and the moon bow down to Yosef. And basically, my whole point is that Yosef's dream is basically Yitzchak's blessing a generation later. The first dream is we're all going to be wealthy. The second dream, Yavdu Chamim, that's the sun and the moon. All the nations bowing down to Yosef. And that's Yosef, the leader of the family. And now Yosef's job is to unite the family and make them feel part together, and he does something to unite them. And that's how he explained the stories in Bereshit. And then later, if you see Tidim 72, David's hoping that Shlomo will be a king doing tzedek and mishpat. But see that when Shlomo's a king, David's hope is that Shlomo will fulfill the blessing of Yitzchak to Yaakov, thinking he's Esav, which is a blessing for the nation, that we're going to be a nation that other nations look up to. That's Isaiah chapter 2. Remember, there will be a light to other nations, and the tribes of Israel work together. 12 different flags working together, but sharing their leadership and working together. And so that's just a quick class on. I'll share this. Let me share with you right now. I'm going to send it to. Oh, sorry, I can't do that. I'm going to have wait. Bruce Agustin. Here we go. I'm sending you the file. In the meantime, I'll take questions real fast. Where's my source sheets? Source sheets. Here we go. And Chumash, and here we go. That one. Okay, I send it to that. I guess I'm going to put it in the. I'm going to put it now in the chat. I can put it chat and file and Chumash, documents, sheets, Chumash, and here we go. Okay, I just sent it there also. Now that sure that was like I condensed like a 3-hour share into 5-10 minutes, but I just gave you again. I'm still mostly familiar with the main concepts, but I tried to get across that there's a mega theme going on in Sefer Bereshit of being chosen to be a nation. And all of God's names are super important. We just say Hashem all the time, but there's something really big going on, which is the way God oversees things between God's name Yud Kei Vav Kei and Hashem. But God's special name Kal Shaddai is the name that guides the Bechira process, which is so complicated. But becoming a nation that's going to be a light to other nations and be chosen forever to have an impact on it, don't expect it to be easy. There's bound to be struggle, and how to deal with struggle. That's the character of Yaakov is necessary to become a nation, because you can't grow up without struggling and from learning from experiences and things like that. Again, no, it's why you always people's big assumption is Chumash should be a fairy tale, and it's not. Now I'm gonna stop. I know I have to start the other class now. So everyone's invited. I'm gonna give a share on Hanukkah real fast. I'm real fast. I'll give, and you're all invited to stay for it, but there's a different link. Okay, so I'm gonna open up that link.
I sent the link to the group for anybody interested in joining.
Okay, so I'm gonna open that up now, and go ahead and open up that class. I'll be there in a minute. Okay, I was just saying goodbye to you guys. Guys, good seeing you guys again.
Nice to see you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Later. And if you have questions on this, I'll discuss it with you later on. But it's a fun it's a fun way to look at things. Again, you can argue with it. I'm just giving a model to explain all the stories in Sefer Bereshit and the deeper meaning behind them. But study that page there, study the drawings, and I'm more than happy to get your feedback. Okay.
I'm going to send you an email. I have a question.
Okay, sure, no problem. I got lots of stuff. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.